Aliens laugh at human soldiers until the dogs arrived. Beginning, the war no one laughed at. When the Zorva first descended from the skies, humanity was already exhausted. Decades of conflict among nations had left the Earth fractured, its armies weakened, its spirit nearly extinguished. The Zorvith, a warlike reptilian species from the Andromeda Arm, came not for peace or trade, but conquest. To them, Earth was nothing more than a lush staging ground for their galactic expansion. They came in swarms, metallic starships that blotted out the sun, spreading across the continents like a disease. Cities burned within days. The alien technology was centuries ahead of ours. Plasma cannons, gravity weapons, exosuits that could crush tanks underfoot. The first wave of human resistance was brave, but short-lived. Missiles and bullets shattered harmlessly against shimmering energy shields. Drones and fighter jets were shot from the sky like flies. Governments collapsed. Armies surrendered. And yet, amidst this apocalypse, a few fragments of humanity's military clung to survival. Captain Marcus Hale, of the 3rd Earth Defense Regiment, was one of them. He stood among the ruins of what was once Warsaw, his unit scattered across a field of shattered concrete and twisted steel. The air stank of ozone and burning fuel. Above, Zorva's ships glowed like red stars, methodically erasing anything that dared to move. But humanity wasn't finished, not yet. Middle, the laughing aliens. The Zorvith were not without pride. They considered humans amusing. Primitive creatures who fought with emotion rather than logic, who screamed in the face of hopelessness. The alien commander overseeing the European campaign, General AIvsAliens, often broadcast live captures of human soldiers attempting resistance. The aliens would watch and roar with laughter, their forked tongues flicking the air as they mocked a small, fragile species that refused to bow. It was during one such spectacle that Captain Hale and his squad were caught, dragged before the Zorva general in chains. Hale stood bloody but unbroken. His men, Sergeant Lynn, Corporal Diaz, and 2 others, stood behind him. The aliens surrounded them in a semicircle, their chitinous armor gleaming under the pale light of their mothership. General AIvsAliens loomed large, towering nearly 9 feet, scales glimmering emerald under the light. He bared a grin full of teeth. Humans, he hissed through the translator embedded in his chest. You fight like beasts. No coordination. No logic. No future. One of the Zorva guards threw Hale's rifle at his feet. Your toys amuse us. You throw metal and fire while we control gravity itself. The Zorva around him hissed and chittered, their laughter echoing through the chamber like knives scraping glass. Hale looked up, meeting the general's glowing yellow eyes. Maybe, he said, but we got something you'll never understand. And what is that, tiny human? AIvsAliens mocked. Hale's cracked lips curved into a faint grin. Loyalty. The aliens laughed again, louder this time, cruel and delighted by the defiance of a doomed man. They decided to let the humans live, for sport. Release them. AIvsAliens ordered. Let them run. We'll hunt them for entertainment. The escape. The humans ran to the burning streets, chased by drones that hummed like hornets. Plasma blasts turned buildings into rivers of molten steel. Hale's squad took refuge in the underground subway tunnels, dark, damp, and smelling of ash. Down there, amid the wreckage of a lost world, humanity's last secret waited. Dozens of metal crates lined the tunnel. Some bore the insignia of the defunct Earth Defense Command. Others were newer, unmarked, sealed tight. Sergeant Lynn pried one open. Inside were cages. Inside those cages, eyes gleamed in the dark, canine eyes. Hale crouched beside one of the crates and smiled. They're still alive. The dogs, German shepherds, Belgian Malinois. Even a few massive mastiffs whined softly as their handlers approached. These weren't ordinary animals. They were part of Project Cerberus, an experimental program abandoned when the Zorva first invaded. The project had sought to enhance the sensory and neural capacity of military dogs through nanotech integration, creating hyper-intelligent, semi-cybernetic companions capable of advanced tactics, communication, and battlefield adaptability. Most thought the project had failed, but Hale knew better. He knelt beside one of them, a black shepherd named Odin, and tapped a command code into his wrist interface. Odin's eyes flickered with a faint blue glow. Status check, Hale whispered. The dog's head tilted. Operational, came a faint digital tone through Hale's earpiece. Even Lynn froze. Did that thing just talk? Hale nodded grimly. They're not things. They're soldiers. The aliens had mocked human emotion, human loyalty. Now, they were about to learn what it truly meant. Middle, the dogs arrived. 3 days later, the Zorvith grew bored of waiting for Hale's squad to die. They sent scouting parties into the tunnels to flush them out. What they didn't expect was to lose contact with every unit they sent in. At first, the aliens assumed malfunction. Then, a patrol stumbled back out, shaking, bloodied, and terrified. Their armor was shredded, their weapons destroyed. They screamed about glowing eyes in the dark, about silent hunters that moved faster than light. General AIvsAliens dismissed it as cowardice. You were hunted by rats, he hissed. Return and finish the job. They never returned. Within a week, the laughter stopped. Hale and his team, aided by the Cerberus pack, turned the tunnels into death traps. The dogs coordinated like a single organism, their neural links connecting them with Hale's interface. They scouted ahead silently, mapping the enemy through sound and scent. When Zorvith entered, the dog struck with terrifying precision, tearing through armor joints, disabling weapons, dragging entire squads into darkness. And when they attacked together, their growls echoed like the heartbeat of the earth itself. The dogs learned fast. Too fast. Each combat encounter enhanced their coordination. Odin began issuing tactical suggestions through short digital bursts. Flank pattern delta. Thermal ambush. Minimize exposure. It wasn't just instinct anymore. It was strategy. Soon, the resistance spread. Other human survivors heard whispers of ghosts in the tunnels, of alien hunters being torn apart by invisible predators. Hope flickered again. Hale knew this was their chance. The turning point, humanity's bite. Word reached General XY lore that a new resistance cell had emerged, one capable of annihilating entire platoons. Infuriated, he decided to crush them personally. He led a full battalion of Zorva soldiers into Warsaw's ruins, descending into tunnels with heavy artillery, drones, and gravity fields designed to collapse entire sections of underground passage. Hale saw them coming on the sensor grid. They're bringing everything they've got, he said. We can't fight head-on. Odin growled. Adapt. Hale looked at the canine, realizing that the dog wasn't just responding. It was thinking. The Cerberus nanotech had evolved far beyond expectations. What's your plan? Hale asked. Odin transmitted a holographic map, outlining choke points and weak zones. Divide. Ambush. Strike from shadows. Bite the tail, not the head. The human soldiers exchanged glances, unsure whether to be impressed or terrified. The battle began with silence. The aliens marched through the tunnels, confident in their strength. Then came the first growl, low, primal, reverberating through the metal walls. Lights flickered. Drones glitched. The air grew heavy. Then all hell broke loose. Explosives planted in the ceilings detonated in waves, cutting the alien formation into segments. Dogs burst from the smoke, fangs flashing, claws tearing through armor. Plasma bolts streaked through the air, but the canines moved like shadows, darting in and out of cover, coordinated with the soldiers above. Sergeant Lynn's voice crackled through comms. They're falling back. Push them to Sector 12. Copy that. Hale yelled. Odin, drive him into the choke. The Black Shepherd barked once, sharp, commanding. The entire pack responded instantly. They herded the alien soldiers like wolves driving prey toward a cliff. When the Zorvith reached Sector 12, Hale triggered the final trap. The tunnel walls imploded, burying half the alien force in rubble. Those that survived faced a Cerberus pack, glowing blue eyes surrounding them in the darkness. General XY lore roared, swinging his plasma blade. He cut one of the dogs, Fenrir, across the flank. The canine yelped but didn't fall. Instead, it leaped, biting down on XY lore's armored arm, crushing the weapon within its jaws. Impossible, the alien bellowed. Hale stepped from the shadows, rifle aimed squarely at the general's chest. You called us beasts, he said coldly. Let's see how you like being hunted. He fired. The plasma round struck true, and the alien general fell, his body burning as the dogs closed in, growling in unison, ending the last stops. Weeks passed. The alien army began to retreat. Without XY lore's leadership, their command structure fractured. Human forces across Europe rallied behind Hale's broadcasts, uniting scattered survivors into a true resistance movement. Footage of the battle spread across the globe. Clips of dogs tearing through alien armor, soldiers fighting side by side with their loyal companions. The images reignited something long buried in humanity. Faith. Soon, the Zorvith were being pushed back. Not by superior technology, but by the relentless will of the species that refused to surrender. Odin's pack grew in legend. They became symbols of unity, of courage, of loyalty stronger than fear. Scientists worked to replicate the Cerberus nanotech, while others began integrating similar systems into human soldiers. For the first time, the aliens weren't laughing. In the aftermath of the war, as Earth slowly rebuilt itself, Captain Hale stood in the ruins where it had all begun. Odin sat beside him, scarred but alive, eyes glowing faintly blue in the fading sunlight. They thought we were weak, Hale said softly. Odin turned his head. They underestimated the pack. Hale chuckled. You sound almost human. Perhaps, Odin replied, but humans learn from dogs first. The two stood there, man and beast, soldier and friend, watching as human ships rose once more into the sky, carrying the fight beyond Earth's atmosphere. Because the Zorvith weren't gone, they had only fled. The next battle would not be on Earth's soil, but among the stars. And when humanity came for them, they would not come alone. They would bring the pack. Epilogue, the broadcast. Months later, deep in Zorva space, alien commanders gathered around a flickering holoscreen. It showed footage captured by one of their surviving scouts, a squad of human soldiers advancing through a scorched battlefield. Beside them ran the dogs, silent, efficient, eyes glowing like specters in the smoke. The aliens watched as the humans raised a new flag, an emblem of Earth surrounded by a ring of paw prints. The Zorva general in charge of the defense sneered. So the humans still fight with animals. Another commander hissed nervously. Those are not animals. The holoscreen zoomed in on Odin's face. Half metal, half fur, eyes burning with cold intelligence. Then the transmission cut to static. Silence filled the chamber. No laughter followed, because deep down they all knew the humans had unleashed something far worse than vengeance. They had unleashed loyalty armed with fangs. And this time, the dogs were leading the charge.